This meeting is being recorded and can be viewed on the Smoky Barn website. If any citizen has any questions about this meeting, please call your alderman or city hall. We don't know what the June meeting will be, but since public hearings are scheduled and citizens can speak for or against, citizens please call City Hall and talk to Rachel, and she will make notes of your comments and read them at the June meeting during the appropriate public hearings. Alderman, you can address the board after I call on you and should only speak one at a time. With the exception of the resolution, everything else is first reading. The resolution is only one vote, and all votes will require a roll call. Mr. Ball has asked when you're called on to speak, pause a moment to allow him to get in position with the microphone. He will be moving around the room as needed. We will be utilizing most of the space in the room. When speaking, be clear, because with your mask, you might have to talk a little louder. After the meeting is adjourned, please keep the required 6 foot apart and leave City Hall immediately. I will call the May meeting to order. You call the roll, please.
Davis.
Here.
Deaver.
Here.
DeLong.
Here.
Doris.
Here.
Fagg.
Here.
Higdon.
Here.
Mayor Dawson.
Here. We'll now observe a moment of silence for everyone having difficulties during this time, followed by the pledge to our nation's flag. If you would stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have a copy of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Steve. Call the roll, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Deaver.
Yes.
DeLong.
Yes.
Doris.
Yes.
Fagg.
Yes.
Higdon.
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. You also have the minutes of the March 2nd, 2020 regular scheduled board meeting. Are there any corrections or additions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Deaver.
Yes.
DeLong.
Yes.
Doris.
Yes.
Higdon.
Yes.
Fagg.
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Are there any presentations or memorials? I don't think we have anything with no one here. I just want to thank all the employees of the city for how they've been faithful in performing their duties during these stressful times. They have literally been on the front lines, and the city has operated as if nothing unusual was going on, and not a single step has been missed. I appreciate each and every one of them. Do any of the aldermen have communications?
The only thing I have, I would like to thank the city for the wreath that they sent when my grandson passed away. It was very much appreciated, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
We don't have any old business, so we'll move to new business. First item is Ordinance 2007, an ordinance to amend Title 10, Chapter 1 by adding Section 10-112 to Municipal Code. It's the first reading. This addition is no animal shall be surrendered to Greenbrier's Animal Control unless it can be potentially adopted out to another individual and is in good health. No animal shall be accepted by Animal Control if the animal is dying, has deteriorating health conditions, or is on medication or medications to prolong life. Animal Control may only accept animals from residents located inside city limits. If an animal is accepted by Animal Control, there will be no charge to the resident. If an animal is not accepted by Animal Control shall not euthanize animals at the owner's request. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Deaver,
Yes.
DeLong,
Yes.
Doris,
Yes.
Fag, Higdon,
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Second item is Ordinance 2008, ordinance adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021. Also first reading. Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to study the budget and get any questions you might have answered prior to this meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Steve. Discussion?
Yes.
All right.
I was looking at our 5-year plan, and we have nothing towards the fire department being a full-time department. Also, that we're adding 3.5 employees in this budget, an extra person in codes, an extra person in the PD, an extra person for Tommy, and an extra person for you. No?
No one in codes.
There's not one? What's the increase of $40,000 to his line item?
It's
His
a line item, $40,000, that would be salaries from Sonny's and Alex's.
Yeah, because Alex got a lot of certifications last year.
There's a $40,000 increase to his salary if
Not
he's.
his, no. We'll break it down and look at it. This is just first reading and double check everything.
To my understanding, there's a 2.5% pay increase. Is that
Correct.
Just where I'm sitting is the way things are right now. Not saying that the city employees don't deserve a raise, but where things are right now, spending this kind of money, bringing more people on board, increasing wages, and we don't know the things that are going to happen here in the next near future. That's where I sit with it. So just want y'all to know that.
Anyone else? Bill?
I have similar concerns with adding the additional employees, the salary increases. You know, kind of like Chris, during this time, we're going through what we're going through, just not sure if we really ought to be considering those elements to the budget. And I also am concerned a little bit about the 5-year plan and the fire department. I thought we talked about adding a fire department full-time at some point. And I'm not sure if we're serious about that. So I'd kind of like to see something there's nothing in this budget that addresses that.
Anyone else?
So the employee that, when I spoke with you the other day, Rachel, you told me that you had an employee for City Hall.
Well, yeah, it would be for many departments. They would just be paid out of general.
Okay, there's one for
Sewer.
sewer. There's part-time to full-time
In court,
in court,
that's it.
and so the codes is an increase of $40-something thousand. I've been scribbling through some numbers here, and that's just where I sit with it right now. We're not doing anything. Pretty much, we met with every department head We got their wish list, the things that they wanted, the employees that they needed. We even met with the fire department. We met with Kyle. He told us the things that he needed, the amount of personnel that he needed, and pretty much this budget reflects everything that anybody wanted except for the fire department that I can see. I think it's time for the city to, we either need to do one or two things. We either need to hire personnel to start a fire department, or we need to hire a full-time chief as a department head to get the ball rolling for next year to have a fire department.
Before you can have a fire department full-time, you're gonna have to have a facility to house them, to take care of their full-time needs. So there's gonna have to be certain steps before personnel is hired.
Okay, I'll give you that, but right now it's working for 12 hours a day. And it's housing them at night when they're pulling full-time, part-time shifts at night.
How many fires have increased over the years? How often do
Man,
we?
we're in the middle of a COVID-19 right now. We're down. I know that this department is down the amount of volunteers that it used to have. I know if I was a volunteer and I wasn't being paid anymore, I don't think that I would go step away from my family to come risk getting this to carry it back home to my family if I wasn't being compensated in some way. Now, there are some real good guys down there. They're working really hard, but we also have 9 personnel, 9 to 10, that are pulling shifts at night. They're compensated very little. And that's where I stand. The building that they're in and the facility that they're in right now, yeah, we could spend just a tad bit of money and do what needs to be done to do that. But the problem that I have with it, I've got a 5-year plan in front of me, and it's nowhere on it. Every year we go to the back burner of having emergency services. It's been going on for the last 4. And this year it was set aside again.
Let me see, you realize we're having to pay the 911 emergency $98,141. That was totally unexpected. It'll be more than that next year. Be $114,000 next year. And what you're talking about would require a tax increase, Chris, at best. And I don't, you know what we went through last year. If you're willing to fight that, fine. I won't be here to see it, but
Well, I think,
that's what it'll pay.
I don't think that it requires a tax increase right now. Why spend the money on the 2.5% pay increase right now?
Well, that doesn't happen until July. If the money doesn't come in, that might not happen. This is a budget, which is a guide. It doesn't mean you have to do everything that's on it if you can't.
Okay, well, if we're in the what-if world, I don't believe that we need to be adding employees to departments that have gotten by these past several years in the office, out in the field. I don't believe that we bring in more to other departments that are getting by on the funding at the moment. I mean, you're talking about 3 to 3.5 employees. That's gonna, at the average salary of $40-something thousand plus benefits and insurance, per employee is about $70,000. The 2.5% increase to each employee, we're just by numbers that I've figured in the last year versus in the proposed for this year, we've got a significant amount of increase.
Anyone else have a comment?
I have one, it's about the fire. 90% or 80% of the calls that the fire department is making is medical calls. I think we need to put our money in trying to get an ambulance here rather than hire a bunch more firemen. Now, that's just my 2 cents worth. We need ambulance service, not more fires. They do very little fires.
You can't do that. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't. The city can. The city can go out and hire their own medical director, buy their own ambulance, and fund that if that's what they choose to do. But the ambulance service is covered by the county.
But it's never here, hardly.
I worked on that ambulance for 7 years
Yeah, but if you
in
look
this
at-
zone.
If you look at the number of calls and actual fires, there's very few fires on there. It's all medical.
I agree with that. You're
And I don't understand.
You're
why-
right there.
I don't understand why we need more firemen. We need more medical.
Well, they're also first responders as well.
Well,
And
yeah, that-
they're advanced EMTs, they're first responders,
take a fire
some of them
truck.
are paramedics.
But they take a fire truck. If I call 911, I need an ambulance, not a fire truck.
Not 100% of the
They
time.
can't, they can't transport you.
Well, at the same time, if it's a wreck,
Well, a wreck with a fire, or they need those jaws of life, I can understand that. But just these, I stump my toll calls, and we send a fireman and a fire truck out for a lot of times nearly nothing. Then the ambulance finally gets there, and they don't even transport anybody. So we've taken that fire truck and that fireman and run him out there for almost nothing.
That's-
Almost nothing.
well,
I mean, I'd like to see an ambulance. I know the county's supposed to cover us and they're thin, but I think the money would be better spent on that, is my opinion.
I know for a fact, because my son-in-law's a fireman in Springfield, they are not answering medical calls at this time. And I'm sure the Greenbrier isn't either. They hadn't been answering medical calls in the last 6 weeks in Springfield. The fire department
They
had.
are either.
I'll say, I mean, I'm over at Cheatham now and Pleasant View Fire, depending on the nature of the call. I mean, you have, if it's a fire, if it's a wreck, what they're answering at the moment. But at the same time, what are you giving the taxpayers
You mean with the fire department or the ambulance service?
without? What are you giving them at this property tax increase?
Not very little of anything. Very little of anything. Or
You
they
answered
actually-
it.
Or they actually get it. Yeah. I mean, not a whole lot.
I know an ambulance doesn't carry the jaws of life. They can't cut you out of a wreck. You've got to have a fire department. If we're gonna hire 3 more employees, I'd rather see you hire 3 firemen, full-time. That's what we gotta do. I think it'd be better use.
I don't see how we afford that.
That's my opinion.
Oh, okay, but the budget that's in front of you right now has 3 employees to add to
Right. But
other departments, but we can't hire 3 for the fire department.
Right. Oh, I see your point. Yeah, I see your point.
Chris, it can be changed. This is the first reading. And one of those is a part-time person now, so you're not adding a lot of salary to make that person a full-time person.
Okay, then that leads to the point of I could make the fire chief a full-time spot.
You're talking about quite a bit more money for a full-time fire chief, I suspect.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, if we're gonna make one part-time position a full-time position, then
That's a clerk. There's a big difference between the two. Again, this is
think
first
y'all know
reading.
what But,
Ready to vote? You call the roll, please.
Davis,
no.
Deaver,
No.
DeLong,
Yes.
Doris,
No.
Fag,
Yes.
Higdon,
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Next item is ordinance 2009, ordinance amending the zoning ordinance, section 5.051, and this is a first reading. In the CA Town Center Commercial District, the following uses and their accessory uses may be permitted as special exceptions after review and approval in accordance with section 7.030. Community facility activities have community education, personal and group care facilities, and religious facilities. Residential activities, permanent residential, multifamily only, and semi-permanent residential will be eliminated. Do I have a motion to approve? Carol, second.
I'll second.
Second, yeah. Discussion?
Yes, I do. What's the discussion and who's come to you, Tommy, with the apartment complexes?
Alderman Fagg asked that we have this on the agenda, so I defer to her.
She approached me. I've met with one person that had entertained an idea about that, and it was down by Michelle's old palace down there. That's the only one I've discussed it with.
Okay, apartments?
It was a mixed use. He was talking about commercial, and he was also talking about the apartment complex maybe on top of it, a few of them. The other one, I briefly discussed it with the other person about the old Smith Doris property down there where the Unhinged is at, and that down through there. It was briefly discussed. Alex would be the one to ask that question. He's the one that handles all that. If he has a question, he reports to me.
I would like to give my issue. We're beginning to look like a downtown with all the improvements. And as far as the center city goes, I see no need for condos, apartments. We have lots of houses. If they start buying them and tearing them down, I would hate to see the whole area covered in condos or apartments. And this may not happen for years, but I think if we're gonna make the city look like a city, it doesn't need that in the downtown area. There's still property down around the post office. There's areas that people could buy and tear down, some of the older homes. We don't have to have this kind of a facility in what I call the main center of town.
Any other
So
discussion?
you're good with commercial, we can have another church, we can have a doctor's office, or just any type of a facility, we just,
Business, as long as it's gonna make the downtown look good. I don't see a need for a bunch of cars around an apartment building or any of that permanently. I think we're on a good track, making the town look better, and we've still got a long way to go, but I just think there's other spots of land that people can put their condos on.
Anyone else? Call the roll, please.
Davis,
no.
Deaver,
No.
DeLong,
Yes.
Doris,
No.
Fagg,
Yes.
Higdon,
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Next item is Resolution 2004, resolution to apply for the Governor's Local Government Support Grant. The City of Greenbrier's share is $180,926. These funds will be used to upgrade IT hardware, an email and edge server, operating system server, fence at Public Works Yard, water tank repair and lead abatement, and 1 patrol car. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Jeff, is there a discussion?
When do we give this?
The application doesn't have to be in until next year. So it's a drawn-out process, but. Anyone else? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Deaver,
Yes.
DeLong,
Yes.
Doris, Fag,
Yes.
Higdon,
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Next item, abandoned Bryce Lane in Northridge. The second phase of Northridge was never developed, and the owner sold the acreage to be divided into 2 parcels. This vote is to abandon the existing right-of-way and release it to the new owner to be used as access to the property. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yes.
Carol, is there a second?
Second.
Steve, discussion?
Yeah, where is Northridge?
Down there.
Life Chapel.
Like,
That subdivision just on the left, right,
Our son used to live.
right.
Now, you're talking about on the very back end, the S-curve where Jose lives now, or
It's,
where Sonny
between
lives?
Jose and Sonny back this way, it's a 50-foot easement that would have connected that subdivision with 50 lots or so, and so they divided it into 2 lots.
So there'll
that
be
driveway.
development on,
Just 2 houses.
There's 2 houses.
we already got taps for those.
They're on septic.
Any other discussion, please?
Davis,
Yes.
Deaver,
Yes.
DeLong,
Yes.
Doris,
Yes.
Fag,
Yes.
Higdon,
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Move to the finance section, adjustments to water and sewer account for April in the amount of $2,979.23. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Steve, is there a second? Second, Billy Ray. Okay. Discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Deaver,
Yes.
DeLong,
Yes.
Doris,
Yes.
Fag,
Yes.
Higdon,
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Adjustments to water and sewer account in the amount of $1,894.07 for May. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Steve. Discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Deaver,
Yes.
DeLong,
Yes.
Doris,
Yes.
Fag,
Yes.
Higdon,
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Before we adjourn, just to remind everyone, the meeting tonight can be viewed on Smoky Barn website. I would encourage citizens once again to contact either your alderman or City Hall if you have questions. The public hearings regarding ordinances voted on tonight will be at the June meeting. That is Ordinance 2007 on animal control, Ordinance 2008, the annual budget, and Ordinance 2009, amending zoning relative to uses in the town center commercial district. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
1 second before you do
I'm
that.
sorry.
Are we gonna, hopefully in the June, are we gonna have the open comments from the public?
It depends. I don't know whether we will or not. That's uncertain right
On
now.
this township, if I can, I would think that we delay the second reading on that until the citizens can comment on that. In all fairness, I mean, one person's opinion, I think they are our constituents, they put us here.
I would agree. Like they have a right to know.
We can do that.
What are you talking about, township?
What you put on the ordinance, ma'am.
then maybe we need a bunch of opinions about fire department.
I'm good with that, because I know the community here itself, I know that they would welcome that. They really would. Instead of calling 911 at the moment and hoping that somebody can get off their lawnmower, or hoping that somebody is home to answer that call of service.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Bill, call the roll, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Deaver,
Yes.
DeLong,
Yes.
Doris,
Yes.
Fag,
Yes.
Higdon,
Yes.
Mayor Dawson.
Yes. Thank you.